When launching a podcast, you want to be available in every app. And Apple Podcast is still one of the most used apps for those who listen to podcasts regularly. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to start a podcast in Apple Podcast, why you want to manage it through Podcast Connect so you can offer paid subscriber audio, see even more detailed statistics, and how you can connect your podcast to Apple Podcast with a single click when you host with Riverside. Here's how to start a podcast in Apple Podcasts. First, you'll want to go to podcastconnect.apple.com. This is where you can sign in with your Apple ID or iCloud account and then manage your show going forward. I'll put a link to this website down in the video description. Now, if it's your first time logging in here, you won't see any shows, but over time you can add and manage multiple shows and even give other people permission to manage your show as well. Now, if you wanted to add a show from scratch, you can click the plus icon here in the top left and choose New Show. Most often, you'll be adding a show with an RSS feed, but you can also add a show without an RSS feed if you want to upload that audio directly to Apple Podcasts. This is useful for subscriber-only audio. We'll get to that in a second. Choose Add a Show with an RSS feed, click Next, and here you'll paste the RSS feed from your podcast host. Once you submit that RSS feed, it'll go through a short approval process, and then your show will be live on Apple Podcasts. But there's an even easier way to do this when you host your podcast on Riverside. I record every episode of my podcast in Riverside, and if you have a pro account or higher, you can actually host your podcast, and it's totally included with your Riverside subscription. So here I've created a podcast. You just need the name of your show, description, some show art, and then upload your first episode. If you'd like to see the entire process of hosting your show on Riverside, I have a video on that. I'll link right up here. But once you have your first show added and you're ready to publish, you can connect it to Apple Podcasts with one click. Just click the plus icon here and then connect to Apple Podcasts. Once you click Connect Apple Podcasts, it's actually going to send the show directly to Apple Podcasts and it will be submitted. Then you can click here and you'll see View on Apple Podcasts or go to Podcast Connect. This way you can manage it like I was just showing you. Once you submit your show to Apple Podcasts, you don't really have to deal with that connection again. Just add new episodes to Riverside or your podcast host, and they'll appear in Apple Podcasts and everywhere you can get your podcasts automatically. Now, if you want to see some additional metrics and add subscriber or paid audio to Apple Podcasts, log into Podcast Connect like we did at first, and then you'll see your shows listed down here. I'll choose Primary Technology, the show that I submitted, and then I can go over to Episodes. Now, new episodes that you add in your podcast host, like Riverside, will appear here automatically. You'll see that free RSS audio underneath each podcast episode. But you can also offer paid subscriptions that could be ad-free or bonus episodes by uploading directly here in Apple Podcasts. So if I click the plus icon here next to all episodes, I can create a new episode. We can just call it bonus content. And here I can add a title and description for this episode. And when I upload the audio, I can tell it to be subscriber only. That means only people who pay for my additional content in Apple Podcasts can listen to this episode. You'll see here, if I go to my podcast in Apple Podcasts, not only are there the public episodes, the free RSS shows, but you'll see subscriber only audio over certain episodes. That means to listen to it, someone needs to actually pay for our subscription. Then you can offer multiple benefits for that one paid subscription. You can choose a monthly cost or an annual cost, and people can subscribe quickly using their Apple account. You'll also see the banner here to subscribe, and you can view channel, meaning you can connect multiple podcasts in a single channel. And then when people support you monthly or annually, they can get access to multiple shows. For instance, we have a show, Primary Tech Daily. That's the daily tech news, and it's only for paid subscribers. It's a 5-minute Monday through Friday show, and I upload this directly in Apple Podcast using the method I showed you before. And if someone were to try to click play on these episodes, it will again encourage them to subscribe and support the channel. Now, if you'd like to offer those paid benefits like bonus episodes or ad-free subscriber audio, here in Apple Podcast Connect, you do need to create something called a channel. So click the plus icon and then select New Channel. Now, even if you only have a single show, you still need to create a channel to host that show. Put a title and description for that channel. It could be the same as the podcast if it's just one show. And then you'll include one of the shows that you have ownership of here in Podcast Connect. Once you've added the show that belongs in this channel, again, it can just be one show to one channel or multiple, you can get started offering a paid subscription. Down here on the subscriptions options, I can click continue. Then you'll be prompted to add some additional artwork for those cards that will encourage people to pay for your show. You can add a banner and even add pricing, a monthly price or yearly price. Once you've set all this information and told Apple what benefits you're offering, whether it's early access episodes, ad-free, or bonus content, you can submit your channel for review, And once Apple Podcast approves it, then people can support your channel and subscribe directly in Apple Podcast, which is a great way to monetize your content even when you don't have a lot of downloads or followers just yet. So now that your podcast is live in Apple Podcast and you might be offering paid subscriptions, here's some additional information you might want to see in Podcast Connect. Let me go over to my tech show, Primary Technology, and here I can go over to Analytics. Now, Analytics are actually brought into Riverside, and you'll be able to see your download numbers across Apple, Spotify, and even YouTube views all in one place. But looking at your analytics in Apple Podcast offers even more data. For instance, you can see how many people follow the podcast as well as download or listen. Now, not everyone who follows your show will listen to every podcast because, as you probably know, you have lots of podcasts in your app and you're not listening to every episode of every show. But you can see how many followers your show has here in Apple Podcast directly, how many listeners, and you can click the little question mark icon and it tells you what that means. This is the unique devices that have played more than 0 seconds of an episode. And in addition to listeners, you can see your engaged listeners. That means they've listened to at least 20 minutes or 40% of an episode. This is the best metric for gauging how many people are truly listening and in my audience who are faithful listeners. That engaged listener metric is really key. Then if you scroll down, you can also look at the recent episodes for your podcast, and you can see how many listeners versus engaged listeners and the average consumption of an episode. And a really cool metric you should definitely look at is clicking into a specific episode, you can see a retention graph for your listeners. That means you can see what percentage or how many people are listening at any given point of the show. Retention graphs will usually look like this, where people drop off over time. They don't tend to finish the episode. But this will help you gauge, is there a part where people drop off significantly? Was that an ad, a sponsorship, or did you start talking about something that was off topic, or maybe some rabbit trails? Or what were areas that had a spike in listenership? Maybe you have chapter markers like I do, and someone actually skipped to a certain point in the show, and that's when you'll see a bump like that. These retention graphs can offer a lot of information about what topics resonate with your audience, and maybe which ones you should avoid in the future. Then you can also see at the bottom geographic information, countries and cities where people listen, but that will be pulled into Riverside when you host there as well. Finally, once you offer those paid subscriptions, here in Podcast Connect, you can see how many free trials have started if you offer those, how many people are supporting your podcast, and the retention rate, those who maybe have paid and then have left after a certain amount of time. But that's how to start a podcast and manage it using Apple Podcast Connect. If you have any questions, drop comments below this video. I'll help you there. And don't forget to subscribe to the Riverside channel and hit that like button. We have lots of resources on launching and growing your podcast and monetizing it even when you're just starting out. I have a video right here where I talk about 5 ways to monetize right now, no matter what size your audience is. And if you're looking to upgrade your setup, or maybe you just need an easy way to be able to record anywhere, well, I'll put a video right up here where I talk about 3 easy setups where it's just a USB mic and your computer and you can be good to go even to record high quality video and audio podcasts. Thanks for watching. We can't wait to see what you create.